Hello and welcome to this week's Midweek Message, our opportunity each week to keep you updated on parish news and to answer some of the questions that you've submitted. Parish news. First, a sad bit of news. On Monday, on the Feast of Saints Peter and Paul, just minutes before we were to celebrate Mass in their honor, a troubled young man threw a considerably sized rock through one of our beautiful stained glass windows. It obviously caused a lot of panic in the moment, a lot of fear, but thanks be to God it stopped at that and nobody was hurt. Though he ran off, one of our neighbors, who's also a parishioner, saw this happen and went to meet him at his house because knew where he lived, and actually convinced him to come forward so that by the time police came, he was already there and letting us know a little bit about what he was going through and how he was troubled in many ways. And so thanks be to God, this wasn't an act of overt hatred of the faith as much as someone in a real sense crying out for help. So even though, yes, justice is going to be served and we are going through the whole process of rectifying this situation, I do ask you to pray for this young man, because I trust that God's at work in this. Obviously, God never wants the destruction and the sacrilegious vandalism of the house of worship or the house of God. No, absolutely not. But I can't believe that it's not by providence that just minutes before we're about to celebrate Mass, celebrating St. Peter, the rock of the church, a rock flies through one of our church windows. And there, I think it's God calling our attention to the fact that the church, even though we love the stained glass windows, we love this brick and mortar place we get to call our home in the house of God where we meet Him, the church is more than that. That the church is flesh and blood, soul and spirit, human beings. And that young man is called to be a part of the church as well. So I ask you all, pray for him. Pray that he may come to know the Lord in a way that he never has before. Pray that he not only receives the mental help that he needs, but above all the spiritual help, and that, please God, when all this is through, he can be there with us in the pews worshiping. So please do keep him in your prayers. Other parish news. You all were very good in filling out the survey or the poll for Mass times and adoration. So I thank you for that. It ended up being that for the weekday Mass, we had two options, either 12:10 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. 48% said they preferred the 12:10 and 52% preferred 5:30. That poll went out across 3 different platforms and we got all of the results together. For the adoration, 42% of people preferred a morning time, 58% of people preferred an afternoon time. With that in mind, and then taking into account what works best with some of my various duties that I have in the Archdiocese, I now present to you our updated weekday Mass schedule. This will go into effect not this next week, but the following. So July 13th, that week, will be the week that this goes into effect. We will have Mass on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Tuesdays, since that's often the day that I have various other meetings, will be my day off from here, so no Mass on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Mass at 12:10 p.m. as normal. Thursdays, 5:30 p.m., Mass in Spanish. And then Friday, Mass at 12:10 p.m. Since it was pretty much a 50-50 split of who likes more midday over afternoon, we ended up having it that way. Two will be afternoon Masses and 2 will be noonday Masses. Adoration times. Those we will have in the afternoon on Thursdays. So Thursday from noon until 5:15 p.m., our Lord will be in the Blessed Sacrament exposed there waiting for you to come and adore Him. On Fridays, it will be from 6:30 a.m. until 12 p.m. So that those who prefer the afternoon can have Thursdays, those who prefer the mornings can have Fridays. That is it for the new schedule. And now to the answering of your questions. The question for this week that I'm going to answer was, who is your confirmation saint and why did you choose him or her? The reason why I answered this week is we just had our confirmations yesterday. We had the first set of confirmations last night, and it was beautiful. And keep those kids in your prayers, because and also pray for those who this next Wednesday will be receiving this great sacrament. The saint I chose is Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati. So he hasn't yet been declared a saint, but he has been declared a blessed, which means the Church, through his miraculous intercession, is able to proclaim that he is in fact among the blessed in heaven, but that he isn't yet on the calendar for the whole world to celebrate as a saint, but as a blessed. Weird little distinctions. If you want to know more about them, we could talk. But Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati, I loved because when I was in high school, when I was a teenager, he was the first ever saintly figure that I could relate to. So he lived at the beginning of the 1900s, died when he was 24 years old, and in that short span of time, he just lived his life to the full. Every day that God gave him an experience with the poor, or in prayer in front of the Blessed Sacrament, or praying his rosary, he just really had this zest for life and all of it. And so he had his group of friends. He just seemed like a normal guy, but for him, living a holy life was normal. It was second nature. To meet God, he used to say, meet God and receive him. He comes to me in the Eucharist every morning, and so for the rest of the day, I try to meet him in the poor and in my friends and in those that I encounter and serve him there. And that's what he did. And he just did what God gave him each day. He didn't found any new societies or start a hospital or this or that. He just lived his life well. He just took what God gave him each day, and he ended up in a short life affecting thousands of people. And that was just something very inspiring to me, to know that that what Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta said of, it's not about doing great things, but small things with great love. That makes holiness possible for all of us, and that we can build up to great things by just living the life that God has us living right now, by trying to encounter him in our prayer and in our works of service. All right, well, that's it for this week. God bless you all. Pray for me, I'll pray for you. Bye-bye.